The challenge series is now underway here in Need for Speed Carbon, and since we have now done our first set of canyon duels, we are now going to move on to our second set of events, which will be canyon races, as we'll be heading to Gold Valley, Copper Ridge, and Deadfall Junction. And then after this we've got 2 sprints. I think I understand what this is. So we're at Gold Valley first and foremost. We're driving a Mazda RX-8, and our description is: win a canyon race on Gold Valley against easy opponent. And that's what we are going to do now. The RX-8, by the way, will probably not be my thumbnail car because, well, I've already done some thumbnail clickbait shots of the RX-8. Oh, I get it now, we're doing an actual race. So got 2 Mazda RX-8s with 1 Mazda 3, and I think we also have a Chrysler 300C in the mix. So we've got Potter, Jensen, and Errol as our opponents for this canyon race. So we're actually racing on the canyon this time, instead of just doing the one-on-one duels that we've done up to this point. Again, I'm still learning about certain things in this game as I go along, but at the moment at least, I do seem to be at least going well enough to give myself some encouraging signs. I'm also glad to say that there's actually concrete walls beside the corners where we would normally see those yellow and black guardrails that can be ripped off quite easily. And at the moment, I'm basically dominating this event as I would have expected. But anyway, and that's a wall. However, not too surprising to say that I'm out front with a gap, a 3-second gap to be more precise, over Potter. I'm also pretty sure he has no relation to Harry Potter, from what I know, or Beatrix Potter. Okay, and down the straightaway, and through the final corner, as I just hit 140 at the line. That RX-8 actually does look pretty cool. And now we've unlocked the silver canyon race. So, victory in the end by 5 seconds over Potter. Then we had Jensen finishing 3rd, and Errol finished in 4th. No way to know what cars they were driving because, well, the game doesn't tell me. These were the stats. Top speed in the end of 141 and an average of 96. And in terms of our stage times, I pretty much led this thing from start to finish. And pretty much everyone else, in terms of the stage sector splits, they pretty much stayed line astern, I'd say. But anyway, there we go. 1 canyon race down, 2 canyon races to go. As we now move on to the silver race at Copper Ridge, where we will drive the Mitsubishi Eclipse GT. Win a canyon race on Copper Ridge against intermediate opposition. Oh, I get it now. It's opposition, not opponent. Okay, fair enough. You know, I'm also kind of glad that they actually do have the concrete walls put up on the canyon edges for these races, because it means that you're basically guaranteed to finish. So I got another Eclipse, a Porsche Cayman, and I think that's a Golf GTI I see there. There we go, that's more like it. And still I could not get past the Porsche Cayman off the launch. I will definitely say the Cayman is a feisty opponent. Or I could just do that, that also works. Basically it's a matter of you taking the lead early on and making sure that you don't lose it. I think that's kind of how you have to pull this off. As long as you can take the lead early on, then you should pretty much be fine. Should also mention the launch will also be important to nailing these. I do also quite like the sound of that turbocharger when I let go of the throttle. I think that's a pretty unique sound to have, to be honest. Even though the hay fever is currently trying to make me lose my voice. So Watson, Shingo, and Deuce 66 are the opponents in this race, and I think Watson is the one in the Porsche Cayman, because he did give me a bump from behind. And over to the line as I hit 165 at the finish. And there we go. The Silver Canyon race belongs to me, as we have also now unlocked the Challenge Journeyman reward. I know Watson was definitely the one in the Cayman because, well, Shingo and Deuce 66, they were basically nowhere near us. So, victory in the end by over 1.5 seconds ahead of Watson. And then Shingo was third, with Deuce 66 in fourth. My top speed in the end, 166. Watson at a top speed of 152, with Shingo 149 and Deuce with a top speed of 147. And these are our stage times. Basically, as long as you can get to the front of the field off the launch, then you should pretty much be fine. But anyway, that's 2 canyon races down, and now we have unlocked the gold race. So without further ado, let's do it to it, and hopefully we can manage to get this done in a reasonable amount of time. And if we win this one, we will unlock the Need for Speed Carbon logo vinyls, as we're heading to Deadfall Junction in a Nissan 350Z. Win a canyon race on Deadfall Junction against hard opposition. Let's see how we go. I'm also not going to have too much more time to get through this. I also didn't know this game had a game over screen, but anyway, that's by the by. So we got a Porsche Carrera, a Dodge Challenger, and another 350Z. And not quite able to get the launch I want. Okay, let's more like it. Okay. So, I think it's suffice to say, the launch is probably the most critical part of nailing it in the canyon races. Plus, the other thing that really scares me is the fact that in this race we're up against a Porsche Carrera GT, as our opponents are Kirby, Roscoe, and Squeal in this third race, and I think Kirby is the one in the Porsche Carrera GT. I've pretty much got an inline 6 engine, whereas of course the Porsche Carrera GT is a V10, so I know that thing is going to be screaming at me like two tigers, just roaring in my ears at full volume. I mean, that thing basically is a tiger, just waiting to try and tear me apart at any second. That's just how loud of a monster it is. And it will probably also end up being a car that I might drive at some point during the game if I really feel like it. We are also going to have to sell some cars at some point during the game as well. So that's also something else to consider. But doing well so far. See if we can maintain it as I blast across the line at over 170 miles an hour, and that was actually a lot of fun. I did have a pretty tough time holding off the Carrera, but I did manage to beat him in the end. Oh, he finished 4th. I think Kirby was the one in the Porsche Carrera, unless it was Roscoe. It could have been Roscoe. Again, the game doesn't tell me what my opponents are driving, so I have no way of knowing. So a 1.1 second margin of victory in the end over Roscoe, as my top speed in the end was 174. Squeal finished in 3rd with an average speed of 160 and 3.1 seconds behind, and then it was Kirby who finished 4th and last with a top speed of 163 and an average of 96, with my top speed being 103. So suffice to say, it pays to get a good launch. I think Roscoe was the one in the Carrera because he was right behind me this entire time. Squeal was running in last up until the final 2/5 of the event, where he took 3rd, and then it was Kirby who finished at the back, presumably because he got passed by Squeal. But anyway, those are your canyon races now done, and we've unlocked the Need for Speed Carbon logo vinyls. Something that I will hope to get round to using at some point during the game. So that is now 2 sets of Challenge Series events now done. We've done the Canyon Duels and the Canyon Races. Next up we've got the Checkpoint Races, and then we've got the Canyon Checkpoint Races. I think I'm starting to notice a trend here. But anyway, that's the Canyon Races now done on the Challenge Series board. And in terms of our reward cards, if I can find it, I think it should be somewhere in here. Oh, here it is. Okay, we got there eventually. We got the Challenge Journeyman reward card for beating 5 Challenge Series events. And now, if we look at our updated progress, we are now 16% complete with the game, and we've now increased our overall races won to 29. Our current career race victories still stands on 23, but we're now 26% done with the game, so we've now passed the first quarter of the game in terms of overall completion. And these are our other stats. And that will now do it for episode 10 of my Need for Speed Carbon Let's Play. You know the drill. If you enjoyed and you're still watching at this point, be sure to give it the old thumbs up like, and please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel, as it does help me out a lot, and we're slowly closing in on 900 subs. Can we get there? That's up for you to decide. And feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, and we will see you again for more Challenge Series racing here on Need for Speed Carbon.